Half the Dead Sea has disappeared. And it's still shrinking. Long before maps, long before borders, long before religion, nations, and tourism, the Dead Sea was already here. Silent. Massive. Patient. It did not belong to anyone. It belonged to the earth. Born from a broken world. Around 3 million years ago, the land between Africa and Arabia began to tear apart. The earth cracked. Not loudly. Not suddenly. Slowly. Two giant plates, the African plate and the Arabian plate, moved away from each other. The ground sank. A deep valley was born. A wound in the planet. Rain fell into it. Rivers flowed into it. The Jordan River, young and strong, carried life from the north. Water gathered. Year after year. Century after century. A lake was born. From living water to silent water. In the beginning, the lake was fresh. Fish lived. Plants survived. Birds stopped here. But this land was low. Very low. The sun was harsh. The heat was unforgiving. Water evaporated, but salt stayed behind. Again. And again. Thousands of years passed. Slowly, the water became too salty for life. Fish disappeared. Plants vanished. The lake became still. That is how the Dead Sea was born. Not dead by violence. Dead by time. A giant that looked eternal. By the early 1900s, the Dead Sea looked permanent. Around 1960, its surface area was about 1,020 to 1,050 square kilometers. It was wide. Calm. Endless. Now. People believed it would always be there. Nature had taken millions of years to create it. Humans thought it would last forever. Now, half the Dead Sea has disappeared. A sacred land for the world. This was not just a lake. This was holy land. Nearby stood Jerusalem, a city sacred to Christians, Jews, Muslims. For Christians especially, this land carried deep meaning. Jesus walked here. Jesus preached here. Jesus suffered here. Faith lived in this soil. The Holy Jordan River. Flowing into the Dead Sea was the Jordan River. For Christians, this river is sacred. Jesus was baptized here. Pilgrims believed its water carried spiritual cleansing. For centuries, people traveled from Europe, North America, South America. Not as tourists at first, but as pilgrims. When the world arrived. After World War II, everything changed. Air travel expanded, roads improved, hotels rose from the desert. The Dead Sea region became one of the most visited religious destinations on earth. People came to visit Jerusalem, touch the Jordan River, float in the Dead Sea, pray where Jesus once stood. Tour buses crossed the desert daily. Faith met tourism, spirituality met business. Tourism and the thirst for water. Tourism brought jobs, income, development. But tourism also needed water. Hotels pumped fresh water. Resorts expanded. Cities grew. The Dead Sea was still calm. But something had begun to change. 1960, the silent turning point. Around the 1960s, humans made a decision. Water was needed for farming, cities, industry. The Jordan River was diverted. Dams were built. Canals redirected the flow. Occupied Palestine, Jordan, and Syria all took water. The river that fed the Dead Sea was slowly cut off. At the same time, rainfall decreased, summers grew hotter, evaporation increased. The Dead Sea was losing water naturally. But now, it was no longer being refilled. The shrinking begins. The Dead Sea did not disappear suddenly. It shrank quietly. Each year, the shoreline moved back. The water level dropped. The lake became smaller. No panic. No global alarm. Just slow loss. By the late 20th century, the change became impossible to ignore. The land starts to collapse. Something strange happened. The ground near the shore began to sink. Sinkholes appeared. 1. Then 10. Then hundreds. Today, there are thousands. Roads cracked. Palm trees fell. Buildings were abandoned. Freshwater dissolved underground salt, leaving empty spaces below the land. Nature was reacting. How much is left today? Today, the Dead Sea is no longer the giant it once was. Around 1960, it was 1,050 square kilometers. Today, it is halved, about 550 square kilometers. Nearly half of the Dead Sea is gone. Every year, the water level drops by about 1 meter. The shoreline retreats further. Damage spreads wider. This is not a future warning. This is happening now. A lake that gave everything. The Dead Sea served humanity for thousands of years. Ancient people used it for salt, bitumen, medicine. Egyptians used its minerals for mummification. Romans used its asphalt for construction and ships. It was a source of wealth. A source of healing. A source of history. A painful irony. Millions came seeking spiritual life. But the lake itself was losing life. Pilgrims prayed. Tourists floated. Cameras clicked. Meanwhile, rivers were diverted. Water was pumped. Minerals were extracted. Faith was protected. Nature was not. Climate change tightens the grip. Today, climate change makes everything worse. Hotter temperatures. Longer droughts. Less rainfall. The sun pulls water upward every day. But nothing replaces it. The Dead Sea evaporates faster than ever before. A simple truth. The Dead Sea did not die naturally. It is being slowly emptied. Not by one nation. Not by one religion. Not by one industry. But by human choices. A choice still exists. The Dead Sea is shrinking. But it is not gone. Not yet. Water can be shared. Industries can change. Cooperation is possible. But time is running out. Nature took millions of years to create this sea. Humans may erase it. Within a single lifetime. Final words. One day, future generations may ask, how did a world full of science, faith, and wisdom allow a sea to disappear? And the Dead Sea will not answer. Because silence is all that remains. When water is gone,